Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring my weekly review of Black Sails on STARZ. This week we've seen Season 4, Episode 9, the penultimate episode of the series, with the series finale airing next week, or this next Sunday. Wow, this was an incredible episode. I really loved it. I knew how well they were doing building up this whole season, but this episode was just really nice, really well character driven as the series has become. We had a lot of great character dynamics, with the Flint and Silver flashbacks. We had some great action, some great fights, with of course Silver and his men coming after Flint on the island. And then, of course, we still had some moving pieces as always, involving Roger's betrayal of Billy. Or, not Billy, Silver, I should say. But yeah, then it was also interesting with the conversation Billy and Rogers had. With Rogers asking Billy, who he thinks is actually going to prevail here, what's going to be the outcome he should plan on. And of course, he says Silver has the numbers and everything, and, Flint is at, a disadvantage, but Flint's been in those situations how many times, and, look where they are now, coming after Flint yet again. So, pretty much, don't put all your money on Silver, really. So this ends with, Rogers really just betraying the deal he had with, Silver, which they see literally erupt in flames at the end of the episode. But besides that, I'll talk about some of the Flint stuff in a minute. But, we also had Rackham, who's on the ship still trying to sail to Skeleton Island. Excuse me. That was a weird voice crack. He's still trying to sail to Skeleton Island, and one of the mates, with him, tells him the story about, 20 years ago, how he never forgot this whole experience and everything. There's some deeper meaning that went into it, but I don't want to make this video too long. I'm not going to pretend I understand everything either. But that stuff was pretty good, but, far from the highlight of the episode. Then the guy ends up having a heart attack, apparently. And it was weirdly kind of comical when Rackham finds him, and they're just asking him what to do. He just answers, just the actor's delivery was pretty, fun there, I thought, in a weird way. But everything on Skeleton Island was so superbly done. I absolutely loved it. Flint, he is a master strategist, tactician, everything. But I also do think he is the best and most skilled fighter on the show. That could be debated. I'd say it's between him and Blackbeard. You could also, throw Charles Vane's name in there too. But if you remember back in season, I think it was season 1, Gates said something about Flint being the only one who could really stand up to him. And then when they did have that, confrontation, briefly in season 2, it was kind of back and forth even. But then Flint and Blackbeard, you could say, Blackbeard beat Flint. But that was when Flint, was lost, out at, abandoned for how long with Silver. So, he was quite worn down, quite tired, and Flint still got a pretty good shot in on him as well. So I do think Flint is actually the most capable fighter on the show for me anyway, and it really showed that off in this week's episode. As these as Silver's pirates came after him. Flint, of course, tricking them and thinking he was digging, and then slowly trying to sneak up behind him, and it all turning out to be a setup by Flint, and he kills 3 of them in a row. He hits one with a big rock and everything, slits the other one's throat, vice versa. So that was pretty good as well. I forget the guy's name. This guy has been in the show pretty damn close to the beginning, or from the beginning, really. This Chinese looking guy, I don't know his name exactly. He's never really gotten any dialogue really, but he's always been there. And he gave Flint a pretty cool fight. I really like that fight. Some really nice choreography in this episode for sure. And Flint is able to finally stab him and kill him. And then the fight with the Israeli hands. I thought was pretty cool as well. It was fairly brutal. Some people I think expected Israeli hands to put up more of a fight before Flint sort of brought him down and only stopped because Silver showed up. But at the same time, Hands is quite a bit older, and like I said, Flint is really, really skilled, and his body is probably in somewhat better shape and stuff like that. But I still thought it was a pretty cool exchange between the two, and the dialogue beforehand. Black Sails has become such a master with dialogue as well. I want to emphasize that. Just the writing, and I love the Silver and Flint flashbacks in this episode. I think this is taking place sometime before the season. After season 3 or something, pretty close to that. With Flint, training Silver and the swordsmanship and everything like that. Because and there's some interesting lines, because Silver makes the point that every man can sort of fight differently. So is Silver really gonna know how to beat Flint? Because he's learning from him and his way of doing it. Flint wasn't, supposedly wasn't too worried about it then, but then they try to find out each other's backstories, or, Flint's curious about Silver's, and, you sense some, mistrust brewing there a little bit, or at least, some sort of, hurt that, Silver wouldn't tell Flint about everything in his, past, with, Silver knowing pretty much everything about Flint. I thought that was all pretty interesting. And I especially, again, just really, really well-written dialogue, well acted, of course, by both Toby Stephens and Luke Arnold. And that final, exchange between the two, how it actually ended up, resulting, with, Flint, he was ready to kill Hands, Silver shows up, and, again, just really well-written dialogue and acting, and then, I forget the guy's name, the guy who's actually been helping Flint, with the treasure and everything. He shows up ready just to, blast Silver in the head. Flint shoots him down because he still doesn't want to kill Silver. We see him saying that in the flashbacks, how he would, likely hesitate and everything. But he, and then we get this really nice scene between Maddie and Silver in a flashback as well. Silver again is talking about his friendship, his he believes true friendship that he's found with Flint, and it was really rocky in this episode, really rocky, but maybe it turns out that it could still hold true, because Flint was playing the long game here, and Silver made that deal with Rogers, which I think was a mistake, but I get he'd want Maddie's safety as guaranteed as possible. But at the same time, I think Flint, there is some arrogance from Flint going into it as well, I'm sure. I'm not saying Flint's perfect, but I did think Flint was smart with this plan he had here, in his choice. He also knew Maddie would, kind of go along with the idea too, this idea as opposed to one life. And it's a shame that Silver didn't see that, because this results in his ship being completely taken down, most of his men being killed. But yeah, Flint, spares Hands at Silver's request, and of course he spares Silver. They do have a brief exchange, Flint elbows him, they have a brief little duel with the swords. I think the only hit I remember Silver getting on Flint was he hit him with his, why am I forgetting the name, his crutch, yeah. Before they hear the explosion and everything. So it appears that they could be on common ground for the finale, at least to work towards stopping Rogers and getting Maddie, perhaps. So I'm not sure what happens after that. I'd like to think neither of them will kill the other. It seems like they're trying to build towards Silver somehow killing Flint, which I'm kind of worried about. Because despite Silver being trained and likely knowing Flint better than anyone, I don't think Silver could beat Flint in a straight-up fight. Unless he just ends up holding him at gunpoint or something, I don't know, or getting a really, taking a really opportune shot or stab or something maybe. But I don't know, I just don't want Flint to die. But I think Rogers is definitely going down, or at least his plan's going to go to extreme shit really fast. I'd like Maddie to survive as well. I think she's become a really good character. For a while I always thought Vikings on History had better female characters, because Lagatha's amazing on that show and everything, but this show's really gotten some developed female characters on it as well, from Bonnie to Maddie now. And Eleanor's, kind of debatable, I guess, but still, I think Black Sails has just done wonderful things to the characters, especially in these last 2 seasons. And all the way through, really, but especially these last 2. But yeah, so really, really awesome episode. I loved it. I thought it was incredible. If I had to rate it, I guess I'd rate it at least a 9.5 out of 10. I can only imagine what I'm going to be rating the finale next week. Just really well stitched in flashbacks, well acted throughout. Really, really awesome fight scenes. And yeah, really love this one, guys. I know you thought about it. What you think's going to happen in the finale next week. And yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.